Mike.
Yes.
What about the relation between the public sector and private sector on the infrastructure, on the, I mean, ports and the highways? What's your point of view on that?
I'm not sure that's something I've given a lot of thought to, actually.
What do you think about the relation between public sector, investment of public sector and private sector like this one on the infrastructure system? What would be?
I think the biggest issue we have with infrastructure at the moment is as we move forward, and obviously we need to electrify, we need a lot of investment.
We need to?
We need a lot of investment.
Okay.
And
coming from the public sector?
Well, yeah. No, the European Commission's making funds available. The latest call for funds for infrastructure wasn't even fully subscribed, and that tells us that the private sector isn't investing at the rate that they need, that the public sector needs them to invest at.
Okay.
And that's going to be an issue for us going forward with things like as we electrify heavy goods vehicles, for example, because the ambition of Brussels, if you like, is nowhere near ambitious enough. And the problem is, to achieve it, they rely on private investment through via the member states to do it. The attitude they have is that, well, we're going to make it a regulation, so it has to happen. It doesn't. You can't force people to invest. And the rate of investment is nowhere near where it needs to be at the moment to get us to where we need to be in the next 10 years or so.
I cannot hear you perfect, but what about these ambitions? Because now with the war and you know, the pandemic, is too ambitious the goals of United Nations and the European Commission in your point of view?
Well, I think it might reset some of the ambitions they have in terms of the speed of electrification and things like that, but it's not going to stop it. Okay. So we still need the investment. And at the moment, I think there's a disconnect between where the European Commission are and what they're. Let me give you a very specific example. They're working to a plan that sees 80,000 electric heavy goods vehicles on the roads of Europe by 2030. If you ask the manufacturers of the heavy goods vehicles, between them, they're planning to sell 4 times that number by 2030. So if the infrastructure that's being planned is to support 80,000, but they're expecting to sell 4 times that number, there's going to be a problem.
Definitely.
So somehow or other, we need to bridge that gap.
And what do you think? The private sector is going to, I mean, to develop this desire, or is just, you know, greenwashing like many industries are doing now?
At the moment, I think it's not an attractive enough investment proposition for the private sector, even with support from European funds.
And what do you think about the PNRR? I mean, the funds that is coming from the European,
Well, there's enormous amounts of money available, clearly, and in some cases they're taken up, and in others they're not. And this is a good example of one area where the latest call that closed, I think 2 months ago now, not all of the funds were subscribed.
Sure.
Well, that's a problem. That's telling you that Brussels is not being successful in getting people to buy into and to invest in the necessary infrastructure. And if they can't do it like that, then somebody's going to have to find another way to do it.
What do you think? Italy is going to, I mean, get all the funds, or we are not going to get all the funds? On your point of view, that is not an Italian point of view.
Well, a lot of the funds are earmarked by country anyway, so they're... certainly you probably know more about this than me, but it's effectively there's kind of envelopes country by country, and the funds are there. So it's not that, for example, you know, Spain can win more than their fair share. It's there's a degree of that, but by and large, a lot of the recovery funds are already earmarked at national level.
Great.